Okay, so today we're looking into something that I think a lot of people are curious about, and that is these online communities,
Right.
and how they manage to find those meme coins like really, really early, before they kind of blow up. And we've got a really interesting conversation that you shared with me um, with this guy, Jack, the founder of Crypto VIP Calls.
Yeah, so I mean, you hear a lot about these sort of get rich quick schemes and things like that, but I think it's really interesting to look at how these communities operate, almost like early stage discovery platforms,
Mhm.
and I think that's what we're going to be pulling out of this conversation with Jack.
Yeah.
Some real insights into that process.
Yeah, and Jack founded this group at Crypto VIP underscore QLLS on Telegram, and it's a meme alpha community based in Turkey.
Okay.
Istanbul, to be specific,
Interesting.
but with a surprisingly significant global reach.
Okay.
And he's been involved in crypto since 2018.
Yeah, so not new to the game.
No, not new to the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And his community focuses on finding these projects that they think are going to do well and throwing their weight behind them.
Sure.
And then, obviously trying to generate profits for their members.
Right.
And they actually work with the developers of the projects.
It sounds like they've developed a system for this,
Yeah.
that they've really honed over time.
Yeah. So Jack got into crypto back in 2018.
Yeah, a while back.
And like many, his initial focus was on Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB.
Yeah, makes sense.
The big ones.
A common entry point for many in the crypto space.
Yeah. And, but he wasn't always, heading up his own community. He actually started as a marketing manager
Oh,
in an existing community.
interesting.
So, he kind of made the leap to his own thing.
So that in itself suggests, a certain level of insight, I guess,
Yeah.
or desire to do things differently.
Yeah, it seems to have worked out for him. His community's pretty substantial. 70% are based in Turkey,
Okay.
Istanbul specifically, and then 30% are global.
So it's like a really strong local base.
Yeah.
But then with global reach,
Yeah.
I mean, it makes you think about the role of geography,
Yeah.
in crypto
Yeah.
in terms of these hubs.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and what really stands out is that they genuinely seem to enjoy and believe in the projects that they support.
Right.
It's not just about chasing pumps,
Yeah. Yeah, and it sounds like they want to connect with developers who are in it for the long haul,
Yeah.
who are committed
Yeah.
to the projects.
Yeah. So this leads us to, how do they actually identify these promising projects and, more importantly, the developers behind them?
Right.
Jack mentioned leveraging his existing network and connections,
Which makes sense.
which, it's all about trust and relationships in this space, right?
Yeah, reputation is huge,
Yeah.
especially in an environment that can be so volatile
Yeah.
or unregulated at times,
Yeah.
So, yeah, trust and reputation carry a lot of weight.
Yeah. And he prioritizes developers with a history of successful past projects.
Sure, so it's not just about, the flash in the pan or the allure of the new idea.
Right.
It's about, can you deliver,
Yeah. Yeah. And he's not content with his current network.
He wants more.
He wants more. He wants to connect with even more talented developers.
So he's constantly trying to improve
Yeah.
their deal flow, as they call it,
Yeah.
the stream of projects
Yeah.
that they're evaluating.
Yeah. So how does Crypto VIP Calls actually collaborate with these teams once they've identified a promising project?
Right. Well, he mentioned announcing partnerships on Telegram
Yeah.
and on X,
Right.
which is formerly known as Twitter, as you know.
Right.
Those are key communication channels for crypto.
Yeah. And then get this, they actually use buy bots in their Telegram community to
Yeah.
provide that initial support.
Wow. So like coordinated
Yeah.
community action.
Yeah. For the
Fun.
projects that they've agreed to back.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
That idea of almost like putting your money where your mouth is, and as a collective.
Yeah. And Jack was very clear that they provide full support
Full support.
to the projects that they list,
So what does that mean?
which suggests, more than just an announcement or some bot purchases, right?
Right. Yeah, it suggests ongoing communication, maybe amplifying their message across their channels,
Yeah.
feedback testing,
Yeah.
really being part of that growth and development.
Yeah. Now, to really kind of bring this to life, Jack shared a success story, a project called Baby Nero.
Okay, so this is where we see the results.
Yeah. This is where it gets really exciting.
The impact of this kind of community-driven support.
Yeah. He said that Baby Nero did over 130x,
130x. Wow.
and that was in a bad market.
Yeah, regardless of the market conditions, that's a huge gain.
Yeah. He even thinks that it could have done over 500x
Wow.
in a better market.
a bold claim. But let's look at the numbers.
Yeah.
The proof is in the pudding, as they say.
Yeah, launch buyers saw 8x gains,
Okay.
and then another 4x from the dip.
Wow. So even after a
Yeah.
debt, still multiplying their money.
Yeah, over 48,300 holders.
Okay, that's a lot of people.
And it reached a $17 million market cap.
17 million.
Yeah.
That's not insignificant for a meme coin,
No.
especially a relatively new one. I
Yeah.
mean, that's serious growth.
Yeah, and it wasn't just the price movement.
Right.
Baby Nero was trending on CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko.
So it had real visibility.
Yeah.
People were paying attention.
Yeah, and it got listed on MEXC,
Okay.
poloniusgate.io.
Nice. Some major exchanges there.
Yeah, with more listings planned.
So that accessibility is key, right,
Yeah.
for growth.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, these listings and trending status show that people beyond just the initial community are taking notice.
Yeah.
There's a broader awareness building.
Yeah, and he mentioned significant marketing efforts
Right.
and endorsements from notable figures.
Okay, so they're really pushing it out there.
Yeah, and for anyone who wants to look at the project's chart,
Yeah, where can they find that?
you can go to DexView, and Jack provided a link for us.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
So listeners can really dig in.
Yeah, and he also shared links to the official Baby Nero Telegram communities for both English and Chinese.
So really going for that global community
Yeah.
that we were talking about before.
Yeah, so kind of shifting gears a little
Yeah.
bit. Jack did mention that the community's in more of a waiting mode right now
Right.
because of the bad market conditions.
So they're being strategic.
Right.
It's not just about, pushing forward no matter what.
Right.
They're reading the market.
Yeah,
That interesting.
yeah. But he is optimistic about the future.
Mm.
He anticipates some good projects coming out soon.
I mean, that optimism is kind of inherent in the crypto space, isn't it?
Yeah,
Always looking for the next big thing,
yeah.
right?
And his objective moving forward is, to continue collaborating with developers.
Yeah, so continuing that strategy,
Yeah,
building those relationships,
yeah. Building
Yeah.
quality projects.
finding those gems.
Yeah, so finally Jack shared his advice for people just starting out
Okay.
who are trying to launch their own meme coins.
Right.
Trying to gain traction.
People who want to follow in his footsteps in a way.
Yeah, and his key piece of advice was to maintain a long-term vision for your project and to persevere.
Yeah, don't give up.
Yeah, don't give up.
Keep going even when things are tough.
Yeah.
Especially in this market.
Yeah,
That resilience is crucial.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he reiterated the importance of those collaborations
Right.
with the capable developers.
That seems to be a common thread here.
Yeah.
Finding those good developers.
Yeah, and not surprisingly, he stressed the importance of generating profits for the community.
Right, of course.
I mean, that's a primary driving force for a lot of these meme coin alpha groups, right?
Sure. I mean, ultimately, people are in it
Yeah,
to make money.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
that incentive alignment between the community and the project.
Yeah.
Both sides benefit when things go well.
yeah.
It's a win-win.
Yeah, so to kind of wrap it all up, we've gotten a fascinating look inside a successful meme coin community.
Yeah.
How they find the opportunities, how they emphasize those relationships with developers, and their goal of achieving really substantial growth.
Right. And I think what's really interesting is this mix of that grassroots enthusiasm,
Yeah.
strategic partnerships,
Yeah.
and then that focus on actually achieving results.
Yeah.
It's not just about speculation.
Yeah.
They're being methodical.
Yeah, it's a system.
Yeah, they're building a system. It's
Yeah.
really fascinating to see.
Yeah, so this deep dive, really shines a light on just how dynamic and surprising the crypto space is
Yeah,
and the role that communities are playing.
right.
Community-driven research and endorsement.
I mean, it's becoming increasingly important.
Yeah.
It's not just about the big institutions anymore.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, so it makes me think, what's the interplay between the potential for huge returns that we talked about
Right.
and then the risks that obviously come along with meme coins?
Exactly. I mean, how can understanding these strategies help you
Yeah.
if you decide to navigate
Yeah.
this part of the market?
Yeah.
It's a question worth considering.
Yeah, and even on a broader level, what does this tell us about the power of these online communities,
Yeah. Yeah.
in shaping the future of finance
Yeah.
and the way that, collective intelligence is driving these new digital assets?
Right. It's a fascinating time to be watching this space.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot to think about.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining me for this deep dive.
My pleasure.
Really appreciate it.
Always a good time.
All right, we'll see you next time.
See you later.
Bye.